I kind of forgot where I left off, but at the current moment, my car here is on the floor. It's on the ground, ready to be a real roller. I have to get the steering rack in, which we have right over here. This is a remanned steering rack for a 03 Mustang Cobra, and I'm going to be doing these solid mount bushings, and I'm going to be doing a bump steer kit. Here's the problem, right here. See what that says? Doesn't work with what I have. I do have the SN95 control arms, but I bought the wrong rack for this kit. Granted, if you look there, you can see how old that kit is. So I contacted Maximum Motorsports. They are sending that out, should be here next week, but I can get this inside of the car. The instructions tell you how to do it, obviously, but I don't have a motor in my car, so I can't actually get it to be leveled out kind of where it should be yet. So instead of following the instructions one-to-one, I'm just going to throw this in the car. The gist of it is you want to make sure these are vertical when you do it, and you want about 1/4 of an inch between the top of the steering rack and the oil pan. But you kind of need the motor in it to know exactly what that means. So I can't do that with what I have. The other thing that I will be throwing in is this Maximum Motorsports steering rack swap steering shaft. It eliminates the rag joint that's normally right here, and it lets me use the stock Foxbody column with this rack here. Just so you guys see it, basically this is your outer piece, this is the inner piece that comes in from the back side, and then this goes over it. You can see it has this concave feature to it. So this is the female, this is the male end. It comes with one of these washers for it. I'm going to be putting this washer on the outside, but that's basically how this goes together. I'll actually put it together on the table here so you can see it. Sandwiched together, looks a little bit something like that. I think you guys can figure out the order of it based off of the instructions if you have them. But I'm going to throw this bolt into the car so I can slide my steering rack in place. And I'll probably set the rack as low as possible. That way I definitely clear it and I can adjust it up afterwards. All right, got this thing in there. Again, it's gonna have to be aligned for a permanent spot, but it's in there enough for test fitting the motor. I'm sure you guys saw me struggle with putting that in and this in. A part of the issue is if we come over here, I left my steering column loose, which I loosened it up a second ago, and I still have to retorque it, but this mount here was way off. It was sitting way too far towards the front of the car, and that wasn't letting everything line up. So we got that back where it should be, and now we're ready to move forth with, I guess, test fitting the motor.
I think the last thing I said was I'm gonna put this motor in and you guys can watch me do that, but you can't yet because I have to put the oil pan on as far as you guys are concerned. And then you can see what's behind me, which is that. It's that.
So with the oil pan off, one thing you have to make sure is that you leave this guy in here because I guess these are specific to Gen 3 Coyotes. And then the new kit comes with replacement cap bolts. And the reason why is because this style plops on here and then gets bolted to the main caps. So we're gonna go ahead and take off this one and this one here. That way we can put the new studs in their place. So once you got these loose, you can tell you have the right ones out because it's Mark II. And on number 4 right there, take both of these out. You're not gonna need them anymore, so they all can sit there. And then the new ones go right back in their place with the studs on. We'll go ahead and get these torqued down. I will tell you exactly how I did it. I believe it's 48 foot-pounds and then another 90 degrees afterwards. Once you have these both torqued down, then you put this sleeve on here, or this spacer. So the torque spec for that is just 18 foot-pounds. Next step is going to be putting some RTV or some silicone in these 4 spots. this is where the front timing cover and where the rear main seal cover is back here. So in these 4 spots, put some. Obviously clean this mating surface before you do anything. With both of these in place, you torque them both down to 18 foot-pounds, and then it's time to put your oil pan on. Got this all torqued down. So basically it's 18 inch-pounds, and then 89 inch-pounds, and then 45 degrees. So what I did is just made them all kind of like hand tight, loosely hand tight, and then I went to 89 inch-pounds. I believe the pattern was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and the torque specs don't show the front that goes into the timing cover, so I just did it in a crisscross pattern like that. The important thing is 18-ish inch-pounds, then 89 inch-pounds, and then the 45 degrees afterwards. But seems like we got this all done up. So anyways, now that you guys have watched me put the oil pan on and drop the motor in, the motor's in. Look at that. I did have to loosen the steering rack because, and we'll come down here, I had this adjusted the wrong way. I needed to make some clearance, that way the oil pan will move. So now we will work on getting the steering rack as low as possible to provide us some clearance, because it's still too close. Just is. So I probably should have put the motor in and then this in, but we live and we learn. So we will drop this down even more and then go from there. I thought I was hitting the oil pan, but that's not what the steering rack was hitting. I was actually hitting right there. So I actually had to raise up the steering rack in order to get it to bolt in, and it doesn't interfere too much. With that done, I can show you guys a couple of things. I got the proper sleeves here for the tie rods. So these ones are a little bit longer in order to meet up with the stock Foxbody steering rack, or the tie rod ends. But this is made to work with the SN95. The thread pitch is a little bit different on it too. So this one already has been swapped over. I'll just swap this, and then we will get these thrown on the car. That way I actually have some steering. Another thing that I have is I found this guy from the last video. I made another one before, but obviously I apparently didn't need it. It was inside of my trailer that I used to tow the car when I got the rust repaired up front. So I'll throw the stock one back in. I got new bolts for it. I was going to go ahead and install these, but I did not realize that I have to drill the spindle to 5/8. So these actually won't fit with what I have. They said to take it to a drill press and do it. That's fine. The problem is that on the car currently I have 94, 95 spindles that I don't plan on running, and they're a little wonky. So I don't need to drill through these. I need to drill through the ones that I have up here. So not something I have time for today, nor do I have my drill press with me. But I'll grab those and then we'll come back to installing this. That's my nose itch.